Here are my top 7 mistakes to avoid when dating women in 2020 and beyond. Okay, so these top 7 mistakes are not only going to be good for this decade, the 2020s, but it's going to be good for the next decade and the next decade after that. And really, to be honest with you, the next 100 years, even the next 1,000 years, because as I've mentioned before, everything that I teach you guys is timeless. It never goes out of style, and you will be able to use it for pretty much the remainder of your lifetime. Okay, so let's crack right into this, guys. All right, so the first mistake that you want to avoid with dating women in 2020 and beyond is you want to avoid being too nice, okay? Not being yourself, all right? Filtering yourself, managing your impression of yourself to the girl, okay? And this is a big mistake that a lot of guys make, especially when they are trying to game or even just talk to a girl that is just a little bit above what he's used to getting, right? You'll notice this too. If you're talking to a girl or trying to game a girl who's just a little bit hotter than what you're normally used to getting, you will tend to watch what you say. You will tend to filter yourself. You will tend to not act like you normally would, right? And as I teach my pickup and dating students, the art of game and the art of pickup is being able to walk up to a drop dead gorgeous woman, right? A dime piece, right? A 9 or 10, right? But for the sake of the argument, a dime piece, a perfect 10, right? A super hot girl, and be able to remain your normal self, right? Sounds easy to do in theory, right? But in practice, it actually takes skill to do that. Right? A lot of guys cannot do that. A lot of guys will start validating themselves to the girl. A lot of guys will start feeding into her ego or telling her what she wants to hear versus what she needs to hear, right? And they won't come across as their natural, genuine, and authentic selves because they're too busy trying to be this fake nice guy. So that is the number one mistake that you make with dating girls. You're just a little too nice and you're not being yourself, right? You have to ask yourself, like when you're hanging out with your boys, when you're hanging out with your buddies, right? Are you ever this nice? Chances are you're not, right? Are you ever this polite? No. And when you try to act like polite and nice and a little overly friendly, that's how the girl will treat you, right? She won't be her natural self either. Okay, you cannot expect the other person to be their natural, authentic self when you are not being your natural, authentic self, where you're putting on a social mask, right? And you're filtering yourself through this polite frame, because all you're going to accomplish by doing that is you're just going to have this very polite, non-threatening, friend-to-friend communication with this hot girl that you want to bring into your life, that you want to date, that you're sexually attracted to. I mean, if you want to get her sexually attracted to you, guess what? You got to escalate the conversation. You have to sexually escalate the conversation. Doesn't mean to say things out of line. Obviously, there's a lot of social calibration that's involved here, which I teach you about in my dating program, especially 7 Months of Mastery. There's a lot of social calibration at work. So it's not like you just walk up to girls and be like, hey, what color panties are you wearing, right? And I can even get away with that, believe it or not. But, you know, you want to avoid being too nice, right? It's just a very common mistake that a lot of guys make. And then these guys are shocked as, you know, like completely shocked when the girl tosses them in her friend zone and she doesn't want to date him and she has no romantic feelings for him. How many times have you met a girl where you're like, nope, I've got her. Ooh, I've got this one. I could feel we have a connection. I could feel like, oh, you know, we're going to end up having sex. She's going to become my next girlfriend, might even become the mother of my children. Next thing you know, you're in her friend zone. Right? She's ghosting you, or she's flaking on you, or she's not responding to your text messages anymore. It's like, what happened? You're just a little bit too nice for her, right? Girls, I hate to say it, it goes back to the old saying, right? Girls like assholes. Girls like jerks, right? Doesn't mean to be like a complete dickhead with her or anything like that, but it just really means to stand your ground. It just means to hold your frame as a man. And being nice, being overly polite when you know that's not you, is not being in your masculine frame, right? That's really like being in your feminine frame, where you're trying to people please. You're trying to become a people pleaser. Girls aren't attracted to people pleasers. They're attracted to men. Okay? So that is the number one mistake guys make. The number two mistake to avoid with dating women in 2020 is not taking action. Okay, what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is just sitting at home, complaining about all these thoughts out there. They're all bitches, they're all whores, screw them, you know, and just never taking action, right? And a lot of guys are guilty of this. And you know what? Part of me doesn't blame you, because I understand with just the bill of goods that society has sold women, especially feminism, the propaganda that they've sold women into believing, and just really turning a lot of these girls into complete, I hate to say it, cunts, right? I don't want to get flagged by YouTube because now they have like a profanity filter, but yeah, cunts, right? Turning women into complete cunts, right? It really kind of puts you off, right? But I mean, for a lot of you guys, whether you want to admit it or not, you are looking for some cool girl to hang out with, you're looking for a cool girl to date, or you're looking for a cool girl to just, you know, connect with. Not taking action is not going to get you anywhere. You know, sitting at home with, you know, your pants down, the computer on your lap, watching, you know, internet porn is not moving you forward, right? And I'm all for the no fap movement, by the way, right? You guys know I'm all for no fap. I mean, personally for me, I've gone no fap for a while. It's gotten easier, obviously, because I'm dating a few people right now, and I don't need to do that. I mean, even when I'm bored, I try to divert that energy and focus towards things that are more positive, like doing more coaching videos, or doing an Instagram live video. If you guys who aren't on Instagram, make sure you follow me. I'm at Matt Cross Official, right? I do live Instagram videos all the time where I do lots of Q&As and I answer your questions personally. That's the best way to connect with me, especially on social media. A lot of you guys just don't take action, and then you blame, you blame everyone, and then you kind of like look for things online to support your argument. You might find like a PUA hate site or something like that. You might find the black pill, right? You look for things to support your argument, and then you start coping. Then you sink into coping, right? You're no longer thriving, you're just coping, right? As I teach my male self-development students, there are 3 stages that every guy goes through, which is the failing stage, the coping stage, and finally the thriving stage, right? Where you are just thriving at life, you're winning, you're running up the score, nobody can stop you, right? And everybody else is trying to pull you down, but you're thriving so much it doesn't bother you, right? A lot of you guys ask like, why don't you do these response videos, people doing responses? And I'm like, I don't have time, I'm too busy thriving. Because I mean, people who do response videos generally are in coping, right? They're coping, and they're trying to get other people to validate how they feel about themselves and how they feel about the world. I don't need to validate shit. I know what I believe, and I don't need anybody, not a single person, to validate it for me. I'm a grown man, and that's what men do. Men self-validate. We don't need to put out a response video to get others on our bandwagon to validate. No, it comes from within, right? And that comes from taking action, right? You're taking action on yourself. You're not waiting for somebody else to put you on the stage. Too many guys are like sitting at home waiting for somebody to make it easy for them. Like new guys who I'll take out, right? Never really done cold approach before. These guys, I noticed, like once we get into the venue, they just, credit to them, they'll work up the courage to actually approach a girl. But then they'll sit there after they do their little opener. They'll sit there and they'll kind of wait for the girl to just give them something. They'll wait for the girl to give them feedback or to give them some like positive emotion. Give me something, girl. Give me some positive emotion. When you get to a more intermediate, especially an advanced level, you aren't going to wait for shit. You're not going to wait for the girl to put you on the stage. Guess what? You're going to put yourself on the stage, son. You are going to take control and you're going to take action, and you're going to be like just self-amusing regardless of what the girl says or does. You're not going to wait for her to put you on the stage, right? You're not going to wait for her to give you, to feed you positive emotions or to tell you what you want to hear, to give you permission so you could go forward. You're just going to do what you do. Right? And this is called acting through your own intentions, which I also teach in 7 Months of Mastery. This is why you guys got to be in my program, man. If you're not in there already, if you're not watching this in my program, you have to be in 7 Months of Mastery, because this is where I teach you guys these priceless, invaluable life skills. Act through your own intentions, self-amusement, right? Social momentum. I teach you all this guys stuff. I teach you guys all this stuff, you know, social momentum, where even if the girl tries to cut you down, if she tries to shit test you, no matter what she says, she's like, fat, bald, ugly, gross, I don't like you, get away from me. You'll know how to handle that because you have so much social momentum. I mean, things like that will actually fuel you, will actually energize you versus de-energize you, like it does most betas and most incels and most newbies who happen to be in the venue, right? I mean, I've seen guys get blown out by a girl who looks like she could be the biggest bitch in the venue, and then I'll approach her, not get fazed by her crap, call her out on it, have fun with her, show her that you can't bring me down because I have so much social momentum. And then the girl, all of a sudden, I love it when I see a girl's eyes just shift from like, like anger to like, whoa, I'm attracted to you. You know, and it's almost like she becomes your robot, right? It's like just Simon Says, like, do what I say, girl. Do this now, do that. I mean, I've had girls who've been like the biggest bitch in the venue. Like, I've turned them into the sweetest kitten. And I'm like, I'm thirsty, girl. My throat's hurting because I've been talking to you this whole time. She'll be like, wait here. She'll like run to the bar, get me a cold water. And I remember one time I was like, oh, I want an ice water, and the bartender gave her like water without ice, and then she went back. She was like, I said he needs ice. He needs ice. Give me the ice, you know. And it was for me. I was like, whoa. And this chick was like really like nurturing all of a sudden, and she was like being a bitch to everyone else, right? But it just goes to show that when you get to when you get more experience, let me say that, you're not going to be sitting at home waiting for somebody else to take action for you. You are going to take action, because that is what men do. We take action, right? We don't wait for somebody else to do it for us. We take action, right? We're self-reliant. We're resilient like that. That is part of being an alpha male. So that is the number 2 mistake that you want to avoid making, not taking action. The number 3 mistake that you want to avoid with dating women in 2020 is expecting her to lead, okay? And this kind of comes back to not taking action, but expecting the girl to lead, whether you're approaching her, you're dating her, or you're in a relationship, an LTR with her, even a marriage, especially a marriage, right? Because a lot of guys, once they get married, they start slipping on their game. They start getting a little too comfortable. They start getting a little too lazy. It's almost like when you watch like a football game and then one team might have like a 3-touchdown lead. They'll be up by like 21 points and they start getting a little too comfortable, right? And then what happens? The other team comes back on their asses and then just scores on them like relentlessly and takes over the game. So you want to make sure that you are constantly taking the lead and you're not expecting the girl to do everything for you, okay? Because if you don't lead your relationship, a conversation, even in a simple approach, right? If you don't lead like women expect you to lead, they are going to take the lead from you, okay? Because as men, we are wired to lead, right? We are wired to lead. One thing we're never wired to do is deal with shame, right? And, you know, unfortunately, with all of this feminist brainwashing that these girls have gotten, they've done a lot of shaming. And, you know, as men, we have not been wired evolutionarily to deal with that. But that's why you watch red pill coaching videos like mine, to rewire yourself, to unplug yourself from the matrix, from that old brainwashing you've gotten, and rewire yourself to the point where no shaming can affect you and you won't be afraid to lead, right? So if you're on a date with a girl and she's like, hey, what are we doing tonight? Have a plan, right? Be like, oh, we're going to this restaurant, then we're going here. Or we're going to this place for drinks, and then we're going here. Okay, so especially for the first few dates, this is very, very key that you lead. You have a plan ready to go. You're not like looking at her like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And then she looks at you, I don't know, what do you want to do? That's the worst thing that can happen. Okay, that's the worst thing that you could happen. You should be leading at all times. Again, whether you're approaching the girl, you're dating her casually, or you're in an LTR or marriage with her especially, you should constantly be leading. Hey, we're going here, then we're going there, and then we're gonna do this. You know, and from time to time she might chime in like, oh, can we go here too? Yeah, sure, girl, we could go there too. I'll add that to the list, right? But you're constantly leading. You are quarterbacking this thing, right? You have to be the quarterback. Right? The problem is none of you guys want to play quarterback, right? You guys want to sit back in the stands and be a spectator. You don't even want to be on the field, right? This is your team. You got to get down there and you got to quarterback this, right? You got to take the lead. So you'll notice this is something I do all the time. Whenever I get these girls, like I cold approach them and I take them on an Insta date, many times, I mean, I'm just like, just like a bat out of hell. I'll just be like, okay, we're going here, girl. We're going to grab coffee right now. It's just 2 seconds. Give me your hand. Let's go. Right? Or if she doesn't want to grab my hand, I'm like, oh, let's go, let's go. You know, whatever she's comfortable with, depending on how the interaction is going. Everything is calibration. As I always tell you guys, you want to socially calibrate at all times. But many times I'm able to just grab her hand, let's go. And I will lead. I'll kind of walk a step or so ahead of her as well, just to psychologically implant it into her head that I am the tribal leader. I am the leader of men, and she can trust me to lead. And even doing little things like that. When we get to Starbucks, right? I'll walk in, be like, what do you want, girl? I'll go in, get our drinks. Coffee's like $2. It's not a big deal. I'll sit there. I'll lead the conversation. I'll just continue to lead the entire interaction. And psychologically, it's implanting into her head like, wow, this guy is the leader. He is the alpha, right? The mistake a lot of guys make is they don't lead. They kind of sit back. Right? They don't want to offend the girl. They, you know, they might keep their hands in their pocket, even if she does want to hold their hand. They're constantly confused about like, oh, what do you feel like doing, girl? Is this okay if we go eat here tonight? Is this okay if I made these plans and we go watch this band later? Oh, is it okay if we watch this movie? I kind of like it, but I don't know, maybe you'll like it too. You know, they're just so unsure of themselves. I don't. I'm just like, hey girl, guess what? We're watching Zoolander tonight and we're gonna have popcorn. And you're gonna kick your shoes off and we're gonna kick back on my couch, and then after that we're gonna let it rip, see what happens, right? It's like I'm always formulating the plan that I'm going to give the girl. I'm always letting her know exactly what's ahead, right? And sometimes I don't tell her anything, but I still have the plan. I mean, sometimes the girl will be like, oh, where are we going tonight? And just to mess with her, just to get her curiosity going, I'll be like, oh, it's a secret. You know, or sometimes if I didn't have time to plan anything in my head, I'll just be like, it's a secret and I'm figuring it out in my head, right? So that's another little trick that you could do. But either way, I'm leading the entire time, okay? So do not make the mistake of not leading the girl, because you will always regret it, okay? She will take the lead from you. She will lose respect for you. She will have no sexual attraction for you, no romantic feelings for you, and really, I mean, she'll look at you like almost like a child, like a helpless child that she can't depend on to be a man, right? So that's a number 3 mistake that you want to avoid dating women in 2020. All right, the number 4 mistake that you want to avoid is you want to stop letting these girls distract you. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you start dating these girls, even just casually, right? But especially if you're in a long-term relationship, when you start dating these girls, you allow them to distract you, right? Especially if you like the girl. You know, if you like the girl and you're like, man, I feel a connection with her, and she kind of gains that one-up on you, right? Because in every relationship, somebody's in the one-up or the one down, right? The person in the one down obviously cares more about the person in the one up, where the person in the one up cares less about the person in the one down. And generally the person in the one up is in the higher power position. And generally that person ends up leaving the relationship, because that person can leave the relationship because they're not that emotionally invested into it, not nearly as much as you are being in the one down. When you're dating these girls, you can't let them distract you away from your own life, away from your own movie. You cannot allow them to come in and become the center of your universe. Okay, you have to be the center of your universe, right? You have to stay on your path and purpose. You have to keep pursuing your goals in life, your ambitions, your desires, your hopes, your dreams. You have to keep plowing away on that stuff, because if you let her distract you away from it and you start living for her more and less for yourself, believe me, she will notice that. Even in the slightest, she will notice, like, oh, he used to always go to the gym. Now he doesn't go as much. He used to go like 4 times a week. Now he's only going twice a week. You know, she'll start to notice these things. And even though she'll be like, oh, baby, I love it that you're spending more time with me, in the back of her head, she's thinking, yeah, I kind of need a higher value male. I kind of need to see if there's a, you know, the bigger, better deal out there for me. I kind of need to see if there's a guy who won't just cave into my demands so easily. Even though she would never say that verbally, that's what's going through her psychology. That's what's going through her mind. It's like, oh, you know, this guy, I can't trust him to stay on his path and purpose. I can't trust him to, you know, do what he needs to do as a man, because he's going to cave into me, because he needs that feminine energy from me. He needs those positive emotions from me. He can't create that himself, right? He's not self-sufficient. And you'll see a lot of these type of relationships where the guy starts giving up more of his own life to give the girl more, right? To spend more time with this girl, to, you know, to please her more, to be there for her more. You'll see these type of relationships always crumble, right? And why do they crumble? They crumble because the girl loses respect for him, and then she realizes she can't trust him to just function in his own life without her. This is kind of like a little off topic, but when I'm in venues, right, and I'm gaming a hot girl, and you might have had this too, a lot of times what the girl will do, just as she's deciding to leave with me, is she'll be like, oh, wait here. Right? She'll be like, wait here, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Like, okay. Or she might be like, wait here, I'm going to go to the bar and, what do you call that? Close out my tab, right? And it sounds fair enough, right? It's like, oh, I got to go to the bar to close out my tab, or I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then the girl disappears, right? She doesn't bring you with her. Notice, she doesn't bring you with her, because if she really wanted to, she could. She'd be like, come with me. Let's go close out my tab, right? But instead, she wants to see if you can hold frame without her. What will you do there by yourself? Will you just sit there like a puppy dog waiting for her? A lot of guys do. You know, I don't blame you. You don't know any better. But I've learned from past experience over and over, having made this mistake, sitting there like a good puppy dog, even if the girl leaves with me, nothing happens. Whereas these days, once the girl's like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm going to go close out my tab. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll be here. And then she leaves. I will start talking to other people. I mean, whether they're guys, girls, whatever, I will engage other people, start a conversation with other people. You know, I will just start doing my own thing to show the girl, like, hey, I don't need you, right? I don't need you to exist. I don't need you to function, right? I am self-sufficient. I can function just fine without you, right? And especially if there's a hot girl and I start talking to her, that girl will come back right away. And she will be pissed and she'll be jealous, and that creates even more sexual attraction. So a lot of times I will do that as well, right? It's called a game for a reason. So that is the number 4 mistake a lot of guys make, letting her distract you. The number 5 mistake that guys make, especially in LTRs and long-term relationships and marriages, is you let yourself go. You let yourself just get a little too lazy, a little too complacent. You get a little too caught up in your routine, and you don't take care of yourself. You stop eating healthy. You start just pounding like all of the bad food, you know, junk food, floury, sugary food, you know, down your stomach. And then next thing you know, you're fat, you're not working out as much. You're constantly tired and sleepy and exhausted because you're eating so much bad food. And she notices that, you know, you let yourself go, and now all of a sudden, I mean, it's like you have no market value. If this chick were to leave you tomorrow, you would have no market value, right? You would not be able to get back on the shelf and get the same level of girl that you're dating now, because you let yourself go. And this is something you really want to watch out for. That's why even when I'm dating girls, whether I'm in an LTR or just casual dating relationship, I'm constantly taking care of myself. I'm constantly watching what I eat. I'm watching my habits. I'm watching, you know, my, not only my physical health, but my mental health. I'm making sure I'm getting out there. I'm getting sunshine. I'm enjoying my animals. I'm seeing my family. I'm taking care of me, right? Beyond the girl. I need to make sure I'm taking care of me, because at any time this girl can leave, right? At any time your girl can leave. And you know what? Your girl, if she left today, I mean, within minutes, she could walk down to the neighborhood bar and pretty much take home any guy she wants, as long as she's decent looking, right? Most guys just go home with her. You don't have that power. Even if you're a 9 or 10 in looks, say you look like a male model, you do not possess that power where you could walk into any bar and even have like a mediocre chick go home with you. No, you don't have the same power that women do when it comes to that. This is why it's doubly important to never let yourself go when you're in these dating relationships. Okay, always take care of your health. All right, number 6, the number 6 mistake that you want to avoid dating women in 2020 and beyond is not knowing when to dump her, not knowing when to end things with her. And, you know, I'm not going to harp on this one too long. I'm just going to say this. When the girl, and I've said this before, when the girl just becomes a little bit too much effort and trouble than she's worth, that's how you know it's time to cut it. Okay? That's how you know it's time to cut it. I've dated girls that I just had massive crushes on. And I was like, oh, I've got to get this girl. You ever had that feeling? I've got to get this girl. I've got to get her. You know, you start to get one-itis over a girl. And then when you finally get her, you're kind of like, man, you know, this chick's kind of irritating, or she's kind of annoying, or she talks too much, or she's stupid, or she's just not fun to be around. She's not pleasant. She sucks me dry of energy. She's like an energy vampire. Those are times where you're like, hey man, I've got to make a decision. I've got to cut this girl. Yeah, she's hot. I enjoy being with her, but I got to cut it, or at best, downgrade that relationship, right? Got to downgrade her, guys. Where do we downgrade her from? From platinum to bronze, right? She's got to get the bronze. The bronze is, hey, I'll see you when I see you. I'll see you when I have time. I'll see you when I feel like it. You know, there's no obligation to see her every single day. There's no obligation to return her texts every time she texts you, or whatever else that comes with the platinum package when you're in a monogamous relationship together. That's a platinum package, right? But if she is not putting out that type of effort where she deserves that, then you gotta, you know, where she deserves a platinum, then you gotta shoot her down to the bronze. The mistake a lot of guys make is just not knowing when to cut the girl off. A lot of guys out there, sadly, will stay with the girl for years, even decades. A lot of these guys will even marry the girl, even knowing that, you know, this is not right. This doesn't feel good. My soul hates me. Why am I sticking with this girl? It's because you're in scarcity and you don't believe in yourself enough to go out there and get someone else. Not knowing when to dump her is key. Okay? It is key. Do not stay with somebody who is just not worth the effort, who is just mentally and physically exhausting you with constant fights, with constant bickering, complaining, conflict, right? Or just who is just not making you feel good about life. Why would you even want to be friends with a person like this, much less in an LTR or a marriage with somebody like this, right? You wouldn't. I mean, why would you want to destroy your life like that? It makes no sense. The good thing is you'll see a lot of these signs early once you, even just on the first couple of dates with a girl, you'll see a lot of these negative, toxic behaviors from her very, very early on, and you can, you know, grab your parachute and eject. Get out of there, right? Do not stay with these girls. Problem is, so many guys are in such scarcity with women. They're in such scarcity that they think that this girl is their only option, and then they just stay with her out of convenience, right? Because they're more afraid of being alone than they are of going out there and believing in themselves enough to meet a new chick, to meet a new girl, right? No girl is worth staying with that treats you like that, right? No girl. It's not worth, I mean, you got one shot at this life, man. Do not waste it, okay? Do not waste it on the wrong person, much less the wrong people. This includes guy friends too, right? So not knowing when to dump her is number 6 as far as mistakes go for dating women in 2020. And my 7th and final mistake for dating women in 2020 and beyond is not feeling entitled to her. Okay? Not feeling entitled to the girl. This goes especially for girls that you cold approach in field. Girls that you may see, like maybe she's in line at the bank with you, or she might be in line at the grocery store, right? Or she might be a girl that you work with and you just don't feel entitled to her, right? You feel like she's just way above me. Remember that song? She's so high, she's so above me. Like some other Blue Pill song that was on the radio like 15 years ago. She's so high, she's so lovely, she's so above me. Something like that, right? You don't feel entitled to the girl because you just put her on this ridiculous pedestal that she's this perfect person, and you know, you fall under her beautiful woman spell. You give her more credit than you give yourself. You give her like too much credit. I mean, I've taken out guys who are doctors saving lives, right? I've taken out guys who are multi-millionaires, like self-made millionaire business owners, right? These guys have been crushing it in life. You know, they're clearly successful. They've clearly accomplished a lot. They're out there employing people, saving lives, and yet here we are in a venue and they're completely like shaking like a leaf, nervous, intimidated, lacking confidence because they're talking to this 18, 19-year-old girl who just graduated high school and has done nothing with her life. Right? So it's insane. It goes back to just not feeling entitled to the girl. Right? You have to feel entitled. How do we feel entitled? You got to raise the bar, guys. You have to believe in yourself more. You have to give yourself more credit. Stop obsessing over your weaknesses or things you can't control about you. Maybe you have like something you don't like about your physical appearance. Maybe you're too short right now. Maybe you're too fat. Maybe you're too, maybe you're balding or something like that. You're so focused on that and you deny the good qualities about yourself, your strengths, the things that make you a great person, a badass dude. You deny all those things, and this is something I teach students as well, is having a delusional sense of self-confidence. I mean, just taking those good qualities that you feel about yourself and the things that you do like about yourself and amplifying that to the point where you no longer see your shortcomings, right? I mean, because let's face it, a lot of the things that you obsess over that you don't like about yourself are not in your control. Right? If it's a facial feature or if it's your height or something like that, these things are not in your control. So guess what? You have to make the most of it, right? You have to work with what you've got. Stop acting like a victim. Stop acting like a little bitch and a little girl and just start believing in yourself. Okay? Start giving yourself more credit and start focusing on all of the things that make you a great person, make you the badass dude that you are, like I said, right? And that is how you will raise your entitlement for hotter women, right? When you stop just like literally obsessing over things that you can't fix about yourself, okay? So those are my top 7 mistakes to avoid for dating women in 2020 and beyond. Well into the next 100 years, guys, even the next 1,000 years, I guarantee these top 7 mistakes will still work because I don't see humanity changing for a long, long time, right? So until next time, this is M from the 33 Secrets. Do not forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube, right? More importantly, guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Too many of you guys are still unsubscribed to my channel, and YouTube is even unsubscribing guys from my channel. So you want to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. That way you get all of my latest brand new coaching videos right as I upload them. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill content that I'm teaching guys even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program. You guessed it, 7 months to mastery, where I am teaching guys just like you how to get your ass out there and start approaching and closing the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women on the planet. I am talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s. The cream of the crop, the most highest caliber women out there that are not feminists, that are not damaged goods, that are not single mothers, but the high value, high quality women out there that you can bring into your life. And trust me, these are women that myself and my students are out there approaching and closing every single week. And I kid you not, every single week. Okay? And right now, it's only $1 to jump into 7 Months of Mastery. It's only $1, right? It's a deal of a lifetime. You're gonna get an entire month worth of coaching lessons from me, all for just $1. And it's real easy to sign up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.